Got a nice stack here of books that I'm going to be getting rid of to give me some much needed space on my bookshelves. Hey book lovers, Victoria here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing an unhaul video, my first ever unhaul. And if you don't know what an unhaul video is, it is the opposite of a haul. Instead of showing you the books that I bought, I'm going to be showing you the books I'm getting rid of. And I've got a nice pile of 14 books that I'm going to be getting rid of. Some of them are books that I've read and just don't want anymore because I didn't like. Others are books that I haven't read but I know I'm not going to get around to reading them. And a couple are ones that I've got double editions of, so I'm getting rid of an edition. But yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with all these books. I know most of them are probably going to go to my local second-hand shop, but a couple of them I might be selling on eBay. I'm not quite sure yet, but whatever I'm going to be doing with them, they're hopefully going to be going to a good home. So the first book I'm going to get rid of is The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa, the first book in the Blood of Eden series. I think it is anyway. And I got this in a Girlfriend, free with a Girlfriend magazine, and I thought it was going to be really good, and I was planning on reading it around the time that I got it because it sounded really interesting, but now I don't want to read it at all. It is about vampires and I have no inclination whatsoever to read a vampire book, so I don't think I'm ever going to get around to reading it, and someone is going to benefit from reading this. The next book is The Wit and Wisdom of Tyrion, I think that's how you say it, Lannister, by George R.R. Martin and illustrated by John T. Clarke. This is just a collection of quotes from the character Tyrion Lannister with some really nice illustrations, if I can find a page like that. And at the time I was really excited because I was like, oh, free book. I got it free with the Game of Thrones when I ordered it earlier in the year. And although it didn't mean much to me at the time because I hadn't read the series yet, I hadn't even watched it, I knew that it was probably going to be something I'd be interested in later down the track when I'd gotten into the series. However, since then I realised it's kind of a pointless book because it's just a book of quotes, and all these quotes I could find on Goodreads or on IMDb or somewhere else online, so I don't really need a book, and I feel like the only people who are gonna appreciate this book a lot are people who are diehard fans of the Game of Thrones series. So yeah. The next book I'm getting rid of is Colours Aloft by Alexander Kent. And this is about Vice Admiral Sir Richard Blytho during September 1803, and he's like the captain of some ship, and I think it sinks or something. I'm not quite sure. I haven't read it. I bought it earlier in the year for $2, and at the time it sounded like something I was going to read. It sounded like something I was going to like, and I planned that I was going to get to it at some point this year, but since then I've sort of looked at it a bit more and read the blurb a couple of times and realised I'm probably not going to read it. It's probably not something I'm going to enjoy. This book is also part of a really extensive series featuring this character, and although I'm pretty sure it's one of those series where you don't actually have to read every single book, I kind of just don't really want to read a book about a character from the, like, this is like a book that's like in the middle of this really big series, and I just don't really feel like reading a book that is set in such a series where, you know, you probably do have to read other books to enjoy the story. But yeah, overall it's just not a book that I'm gonna probably read, and I'm probably not gonna enjoy it. Now this next book I am a little bit divided about, and that is The Blood Debt by Sean Williams, book 2, or Book of the Cataclysm number 2. This was a book that I also bought earlier in the year for $2 with Colours Aloft, and it sounded really interesting. I was drawn in by the cover and the blurb, and it wasn't until I got home that I realised it was the second book, and I was like, okay, I'll just buy the first one. However, I was turned off buying the first one at that time simply for the fact that a book like this, paperback book this size, costs $30. And that was a little bit off-putting. I wasn't really in a big rush to read it, so I just put it on my shelf and thought I would get around to it one day. However, reshuffling my shelf to fit new books in, this takes up quite a big chunk of my bookshelf. So I thought I might get rid of it because I don't think I'm going to read it. I don't think I'm going to go out and buy the first book. I could probably read this and still enjoy the book as itself, but like it is the second book, so there's probably stuff that happens in here that might need explaining by a first book. I'm not quite sure, but it does sound like something I might want to read, so I might just keep it and keep it on a pile somewhere else and see how we go. I'm not quite sure, but yeah. I just don't know when I'm going to get around to buying the first book, and yeah. I don't know. If you've read this book or heard anything about this series or this author, please let me know, because I just want to know whether I should read it or not. I don't know. The next book I'm going to get rid of is Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I got this earlier in the year in a Prudence and the Crow box, and at the time I thought it'd be an interesting read. It is a children's book or a middle grade book, and I thought it'd be interesting. I'd give it a go, but since then I realised it's probably not a subject I'm going to want to read about. It is kind of semi-autobiographical, I think, about a family growing up in the big woods of Wisconsin, and it's just, you know, kind of one of those type of kids books, you know what I mean, like where it's sort of nothing really happens, it's just, I don't know. But yeah, it just does not, at the moment, it just does not sound like something I'm going to read, and I know that this book and the series and the author have gotten really great reviews, so I'm sure there'll be someone out there who will appreciate this book a lot more than I will. Next book I'm getting rid of is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, the first book in the Percy Jackson and Olympian series, simply because I now own this book in the 10th anniversary US edition, because that's the edition I want the whole set in, and I got the 1 to 3 box set for that one. So yeah, I don't really need this one. I did only buy it for $7 off eBay, so I don't really feel too bad about giving it up. The next book I'm going to get rid of is J.K. Rowling, Princess of Dreams by Mark Shapiro. This is a biography of J.K. Rowling that was released in 2003. So far, if you hear 2003 in a biography, you realise there is so much more that has happened since 2003. This was written at a time when the 5th book had just come out. I think it had the 5th book, I don't know, and the 3rd movie was, I think it was still during production of the 3rd movie. I can't remember, it's been a while since I read this. I got it back several years ago when I got into the Harry Potter series, because I thought it was just so great, like a biography about J.K. Rowling. I want to know more about it. And I did read it at the time, and I did find it quite interesting, but flipping through it the other day when I was deciding that I was going to get rid of it, I realised it was quite a poorly written biography, and there are probably a lot more better ones out there. Just googling J.K. Rowling would find better information, and I kind of don't like having biographies of people who are still alive written while they were still alive, because there's going to be a chunk of their life that doesn't feature in the book because they're still doing stuff after the book is published. So the only J.K. Rowling biography I really want to get is the new one that was coming out. They cost like $200. I'm probably never going to get it because it is so bloody expensive, but yeah, I don't really want this. It's not that really well written, and a lot of reviews for this book are really bad, so it's going. The next book I'm going to get rid of is The Hunger, But Mainly Death Games, a parody by Bratness Everclean, and I bought this a couple of years ago, like around the time that the first movie came out, because I just finished reading the books, and I was like, oh, a parody, that should be really interesting. I really love the books, let's read, you know, a parody of them. And I didn't get around to reading it at that time. It's been sitting on my shelf since then, and I decided to read it during the Tubeathon this year to fulfill one of the reading challenges. I don't even remember what reading challenge it was. And I started reading it, and I got 33 pages in, and I DNF'd it. The first book for this entire year that I've DNF'd, and it is simply because it is so crap. Literally. It is about, instead of, what I've read so far anyway, instead of District 12 being the coal mining district, they are the rubbish dump for the entire country, and all of the houses are made out of rubbish. The forest is made out of tire stacks, and the mine is actually a sewage mine. I don't know what they're mining for, to be honest. And Bratness's dad, instead of dying from the explosion at the coal mine, died because he was swept off into the Pooh River that flows beneath the city, or the district, I mean. And Bratness's mum is a total psycho and has wanted to kill her since she was a child. And yeah, it was just really poorly written. For a parody, it was trying way too hard to be funny and to seem like a parody. It was so bad. Like I said, I only got up to page 33. I think we'd just been introduced to Peter. Don't even know what his role in the book was. I have no idea what the role in the Hunger Games is meant to be. but so bad. I do not recommend this at all. At all. But no, just don't. So it's going. I don't want this at all anymore. It's taking up valuable space. The next book I'm going to be giving up is Moll Flanders by Daniel Defoe. I had to read this last year for my English literature course, and I actually didn't read it. I started reading it, but it was really hard to get into the writing style. For some reason, Daniel Defoe has just put random capital letters throughout his sentences, so my brain was reading it as if that was the start of a new sentence, because it wasn't like a proper noun or anything. It was just a regular word given a capital letter. And I just couldn't get into the writing style. I ended up reading summaries of the book and watching a TV adaptation which stuck apparently pretty accurately to the book, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed the story, I just could not read it. So if I ever want to relive Moll Flanders again, I'm going to watch it rather than read it, because I just couldn't get into it. Obviously someone who might be able to read like English, like when was this released? Was it written? Maybe someone who is able to read 17th century writing might be able to appreciate it a little bit more. The next book I'm going to be giving up is Switched by Amanda Hocking, the first book in the Trill trilogy, simply because I now own this in the proper paperback form rather than this annoying mass paperback which I got with a Dolly magazine. But I really love this book and this series and this world, so I highly recommend it to anyone, everyone and anyone. Just read it. The next book I'm going to be giving up is a little like trivial, what's that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Anyway, the next book I'm going to be getting rid of is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, mainly because I don't like this edition. It is a Norton Critical Edition. I never ordered this edition. I originally ordered, I think it was a Kingston edition, like one of those classic edition thingies. But I was sent this one instead, which I thought at the time was really good, because I'm pretty sure the Norton editions are like $20 to $25 and I only paid like $6, and I thought it'd be really interesting because it does come with like extra information about Charlotte Bronte and about the context of the story. I thought that would help me enjoy the story a little bit better, but I haven't read it. I don't really feel like reading, I don't think I'm going to be reading this book anytime soon, and to be honest, I kind of want like the Penguin English Library editions, because I'm trying to collect all of the Austen and Bronte sister works in that edition. They're just a lot cleaner, a lot less chunky and bulky, and this one just puts me off reading it a little bit. I know that is kind of like not a good thing, but I know we all do it. We all pick books because of we'll pick books and pick an edition of a book because of the cover, and I just don't really want, I don't have any really need for a critical edition. I don't know, probably someone out there will probably benefit from having this edition of the book if they're studying Charlotte Bronte. But I don't plan on reading this book anytime soon, and it's just taking up space on my bookshelf because it is so chunky, and I'm going to get rid of it. And I don't care what people think, but I know that there'll be heaps of people out there who will agree with what I'm doing, because if you don't like an edition of a book and end up buying another one, you're going to get rid of the one you don't like. The next book I'm getting rid of is The Hunger Games Tribute Guide, and this came out around the time that the first movie did. It might have come out just after it, and it's essentially meant to be if you are a citizen of Pan Am, and it's like literally a tribute guide. It goes through all of the tributes and all of the trainers and the parade and training and the interviews and going to the arena, and that's it, because obviously, yeah. And I bought this, obviously this came out around the time of the first movie. I think I got it between after I'd seen the first movie and while I was waiting for the DVD to come out, and it was just really cool because like it comes with pictures of everything in it, so I could just sort of relive the movies a little bit. But now it is quite pointless, to be fair, and I mean I really do like the Hunger Games, I like the books, I like the movies, but I'm not a collector of Hunger Games stuff, so I know there'll be a fan out there, a super fan out there who will really enjoy this book. If If this was a Harry Potter book, I'd keep it, but Hunger Games, I'm not really that hardcore into Hunger Games like I know a lot of people are, so someone else will definitely benefit from this book. Oh crap. The next book I'm going to be getting rid of is the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This is a chunky ass bind up of all 7 books, and I bought this after the first movie came out, after Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe came out, because I'm going to read it. Unaware at that time that there was more than one Narnia book, and that this was obviously the bind up of all of them. And I just don't like this edition. I've currently got them all in the, where are they? In these editions, like little mass market paperbacks. I just find them a lot more handy than this big ass chunky, and this is quite heavy bind up. So I'm going to be getting rid of this one. Finally, the last book I'm getting rid of is Johnny Depp, a biography by Danny White. Again, I don't like biographies written while someone is still alive. I don't really like Johnny Depp enough. I mean, I really like Johnny Depp, but I don't think I'm going to be reading a biography of him until, God forbid, after he dies at like the ripe old age of 150. So yeah, I'm getting rid of this. I feel slightly bad because my cousin bought it for me as a gift, but then again, she bought it from a secondhand shop for like a couple of bucks and only got it for me because she saw it and knew I liked Johnny Depp, so this is going. So they are all the books I am planning on getting rid of. They have given me heaps of space on my bookshelf, although I kind of feel like I need to get rid of more books now because I don't have much space at all. It is ridiculous. But yeah, hopefully I won't have to do another unhaul video for a while because all the books on my bookshelf are ones that I like or haven't read yet. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram this month I'm doing the October photo book challenge, which has been really fun so far, so go check that out. I'm also planning on uploading to this channel every Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesdays will be top 5 Wednesdays and Saturdays will just be random videos and all that jazz. So hopefully I stick to that schedule, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye.